Hello, viewers. You're welcome again to our family show, The Living Room, here on Equa Television Africa. In the last few episodes, well, I don't know whether it's few anymore, but in the last number of episodes, we've been talking about discipline in the home. And we've taken time to talk about discipline in the home for different age groups. And last week, we started talking about teenagers. And today, we'll continue talking about teenagers. My name is Amaka Ocheke, and on set with me today is Professor Theresa Madu.
Good evening, viewers.
Uncle Dan.
Good evening, viewers.
And well, Auntie IB, but Mrs. Namo, when you are being official with her.
Good evening.
Yes. You're all welcome.
Thank you.
So, in our discussions about discipline in the home, we had agreed on a number of issues, which I keep trying to remind parents in case this is the first time you are watching. We agreed that discipline is the responsibility of parents, and both parents must be on the same page when it comes to disciplining their children. It's not what you leave for any other person. It's not for the teachers. It's not for your older children. Discipline is for you. They could support you, but you are the principal discipliner, in quotes, if there's any word like that. And then the aim of discipline is to help our children to grow and to conform to the image of Christ for us Christians. And the manual, the standard for disciplining our children, raising our children, is the Word of God. It's not what social media has to offer. It's not what so-called experts have to offer. The main expert who made the children, God, is the one who we listen to and who we follow after the pattern he has laid out for us in his word. Now, talking about teenagers, last time we talked about a few things about teenagers, the kind of people that they are. And some of the things that came out for us there was that it's a very critical stage in life. They are not children. They are not adults. They are still trying to discover who they are and what they are all about. And then we also agreed that we need to be friends with these children at this age. This is the time to be friends with them, and also that we as parents need to go to school again, learning to understand this group of not young people, not yet adults, but they are transiting. We need to go to school to learn about them and try to understand them. And then we shouldn't also lord it over these children. We should be friends. We should hear them out. We should listen to them and know what they are going through. And the closer we are to them, the more likely they are to listen to us and not to listen and conform to peer pressure. So with all that at the background, today we're going to delve into how do we handle these teenagers who we have maybe nurtured from childhood, and we're now seeing some new developments, some new people that we have not known before. Well, because they are changing. So how do we interface with them? How do we relate with them to help? Okay, we'll start with Auntie Tess.
So what am I supposed to respond to? I think that we've belabored who they are. And now I think we should also talk about what parents can do to be there for them.
Okay.
And besides friendship, it's also being more involved in their lives, even though they have a life of their own with their friends and school activities, and depending on where they are, maybe early university, they are probably away from home. How do you engage with this person? Of course, we have already said that they may not like you to help them with decision making about their clothing, their choice of friends, and worst case scenario, if you have a special thing like maybe a rebellious thing going on. We're assuming that the typical teenagers we're talking about here are not people who are on drugs or have special clinical problems. So we're just talking about your normal teen. what would you do? We have already said that they answer in monosyllables. But apart from monosyllables, if we take an advantage of what they are saying and respond in an adult manner, not like them, because sometimes parents are annoyed because of the slangs or maybe the lack of respect that they show. And you know, these people who show lack of respect, they can smell disrespect from afar.
Exactly.
Say, why are you talking to me like I'm a child? You know, they're very quick to recognize that they are being disrespected. So how did I handle it? I used a motto: pray more about them to God, talk to God about them less, but keep a lot of tips. You know, like when my own children were in their teenage years, we had Every Day for Jesus for teen people. Whether they actually went through it day by day, I don't know, but I took the trouble to make
Get
it
the
available,
devotionals
you
for them.
understand? And then once in a while, I will share with them if we had maybe an event that reflected how I handled this when I was their age. Like one of my teenage daughters refused a proposal from a boyfriend, and I thought she was damn right very, very rude. And I was engaging her and say, I didn't say like the person, but whether we like the people or not, we need to be
Civil and respectful.
civil and respectful and keep the relationships going. He's your brother or sister in Christ. He just doesn't happen to be your boyfriend. So, you know, I didn't think she thought I was right, because she assumed that because I said be civil, it meant, but you can be civil to people but still say, no, I'm not the right choice for you, or you are not the right choice for me. I don't know whether this has provided something, but I would encourage that parents pray a lot for these teenage issues. Don't respond only physically, respond spiritually. I think the prayers for them, especially like one of the prayers I prayed a lot were Ephesians 1:17 to 19. I kept asking God to grant them wisdom and revelation in who He is. Also grant them, you know, open the inner eyes of their heart. Apart from that, I also ask that they will be able to test God's, be able to test God. And sometimes they test God. They are in circumstances that they won't tell you, but they are able to tell you the testimony afterwards, you know.
Okay. Uncle Dan.
All right. Apart from praying, I think one thing parent has missed is preparing them to withstand the outside world. Mm-hmm. In the Christendom, we have a peaceful atmosphere. But outside there, we have wolves, we have lions, we have dangerous animals waiting to devour our children, most especially our teens, either through the social media, through the school, entertainment industry, the school. But everybody wants to catch these children as fast as they could. And sometimes we allow the children go into the world like the prodigal son. Nobody pre-informed him that outside the coverage of his father's house and the elder brother's influence, things will go wrong out there. So I think it's best we begin to tell them the problem they may encounter as they are teenagers. Some of the problem are peer pressure. We teach them how to withstand it. The second one is self-esteem. I discovered that most Christian teens have low self-esteem. So when they go out there, they will not discover it's like, I am not complete. Something is fundamentally wrong with me because I'm not like them. I'm a different person and I'm looking odd. So sometimes they feel being odd is the problem. Not knowing that you're being odd for God. You're taking a stand to be different for God. So they just quickly change like a chameleon. So we need to tell them, this, and these are some of the obstacles you will anticipate as you begin to grow. As you begin to see some of these changes, this and this is what you should expect. If you see 1, 2, 3, it's a sign that 4, 5, 6 is about to happen. At least that pre-information will really, really help our teenagers. It will prepare them for the future.
Absolutely.
And that is why they don't have all of the information. They don't have all of the experience. But we, the parents, have the information and we have the experience. I think it is best that we lay it to them so that when they begin to see the sign and the handwriting on the wall, they may begin to understand. I think this is what mommy is telling me about. This is some of the things daddy tells me is out there. And this is how I was prepared to handle such situation. Because the prodigal son went out there and got lost in the crowd until he realized. But sometimes we may not have the opportunity for our teens to realize it. So I think the first thing beyond the prayer is begin to teach them what to expect and how to handle the unexpected. What will happen during crisis time? What should you do? Because I was talking yesterday in a meeting about preparing before captivity. And we're talking about Daniel. Daniel did not propose his heart in Daniel chapter 1 verse 8. He has proposed his heart a long time ago. The obstacle only showed up while they were in captivity. And he restated what he has stated long before, that he will not defile himself with the king's meal. That was not done that day. It was a conscious determination. Somebody prepared him for a situation as that. And when the situation showed up, he was able to conquer. I think there's one thing I discovered. Parents
So to be able to do all this, you know, to have these discussions, that means the
quality time.
There must be room to talk. There must be room to
and
talk
let me say this,
and converse.
The room to talk is not usually in your sitting room or their bedroom.
No.
I think parents needs to take their teenagers out.
That's my emphasis.
Let's go out there. There's nothing wrong. See, when they just turn teens, it's like it's a cat and dog fight in the house. But when you go out there, maybe it's going to a park or a recreational center or somewhere serene and begin to converse. Eatery. And spoil them a little. Some of the teenagers are not very expensive. So we should not be thinking, oh, if I take them out now, I'll have to buy shawarma.
Oh, but they have good appetite too.
No, they may have it, but they are not really expensive.
Because sometimes even if you take them out, they may not, even if it's somewhere to eat, they may not be full, but they still enjoy the fact that they went
that they are out of the house.
Absolutely.
Okay, different
with
environment.
Their parent is enough ground for them to listen. So by the time you sit with them, probably in a very quiet place with the bird making the noise and the frog and every other thing, the nature, and begin to tell them, do you know why this is this? This is that. And when this happens, what should you do? And if their answer is not based on biblical understanding, then you now begin to chip the biblical understanding as concerning some of these things. The Bible says, when sinner entice you, consent thou not. And it simply means, of course they will do that. How do you don't consent? What should you do when those situations comes? I think it is high time parents begin to talk about this.
Sorry, something
teens.
happened to me today at devotion that I want to just share. So I had that time that I was pursuing my PhD, you know, with a lot of school run and everything. I didn't know that I took my last son to the office a lot. And, you know, it meant interacting with all these university people and everything. But on my side of the office, I had 2 Corinthians 5:10 up, which says that, you know, we know that one day we shall give an account to God for everything we have done in this body, whether good or bad. The message wasn't for him. But today he was reminding me, after we read that passage, he said, do you know that you had this plaque in your office several years ago when you were on the ground floor? I'm like, and I was sharing offices with people. But I'm also saying that in addition to the parts, let's take advantage of life situations where these people come alongside with us. And I think last week we all said that they observe you.
They do.
They watch you. They see what you do. Obviously, when I was talking to younger adults, he was listening in on it and, grabbing from it.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, just to add to what he said, most times we spend time preaching at them. We preach the gospel during devotion. We are the preacher. We're sermonizing them. We're giving them scriptural verses and all. Most of these scriptural verses, they store them in their head. Sometimes they don't even know what to do with them. But when you give them practical situations, when you take them out, when you make it look like it's not a, Bishop Kwashi used to do something. When he moved to where he stays now, he started a football team. The football team was like, oh, let's come and play football. But every young adult within that area that enrolled in the football, he was using it to disciple them. Football, they come, and all of them were coming. They were enrolling, So, but before they start playing, he would say, let us pray. They will pray, they will play. He was the referee. He started a basketball team. He was running it with them. Such things, those are the premise where we can actually reach them spiritually. Let's take the gospel to where they love to go to. You see, our home, they are already used to it. So sometimes just take on them on an outing where somebody else is going to talk. They are used to listening to you. This is, Daddy will soon start. Okay, Mommy is about to say it again.
And they know all
they
your lines.
know your lines. They are aware that, very soon. In fact, they'll be touching. Mommy will soon talk. Just wait, she will say it now. And then when she say, hey, I said it. But if you take them to a place where somebody else that they've never seen, maybe even a young person like them, is talking about this, is recording the same thing that you have been saying, it makes more sense. And then giving them your own example. How did you manage? A lot of times we shout on them because they want to make friends. Did you not make friends when you were growing up as a teenager? Tell us, if your children should ask you today, did you have a boyfriend when you were a teenager? Some of us are going to say, leave that topic. Don't leave it. Tell them, I had a boyfriend or I didn't have a boyfriend. This is what happened. I learned this. I learned this. I don't want you to make the same mistake I made, or I didn't make the mistake. Tell them the truth. But a lot of us, we hide the truth. And these children will look at us and say, Daddy thinks that we don't know that he also messed up when he was growing up. So,
I think parents just find it kind
embarrassing.
of embarrassing to let your children know that you have feelings. You want your children to think that you are perfect.
Iron Man.
You did very well, and they should follow in your perfect footsteps.
No.
But I think it doesn't always work that way.
Yes.
Even if your children know you have feelings, I don't think they are going to decide, okay, since Daddy did wrong, me too, I'll do wrong. No, you've taught them that this way leads to this consequence, and so they
sometimes I tell them, I wish I knew some of the things I know now. Maybe the mistakes I made, I wouldn't have made them. You should thank God you now know, because I am telling you my life. This was the things I did. These are the things I did wrong. Is it possible for you also to come out and tell, one parent said that his son walked up to him and said he wants to drink beer. And he knew he drank before when he was growing up, that it was a shock to him. With all the Christian teachings he has been taking this boy, that this boy can, but that the boy could even walk up to him because he was a friendly father. Yes. That was what gave him the audacity to even walk up to him. So he sat down and asked him question, why do you want to drink beer? What is inside? So he said, Daddy, didn't you drink beer when you were a teenager? So he said, yes, I drank. But look at what happened to me. look at what I wasted. Look at what I am regretting as a result of what I did. I would love you to learn from my mistake, not to repeat the same mistake. And that boy today is doing very well. And he never drank a bottle of beer because the father owned up and told him the truth. But more often than not, what we do is we even tell him, shut up, you want to drink beer? Are you know, we call them names, we shout on them, and then he will go back and go and drink the beer, whether you like it or yes.
Not even back. You put it to your face. And
But
when
you
you
know,
talk,
so
you say it's their time. They should allow them
to do it,
live their
yes.
own life.
know?
We're going to allow them to live their own life, but let's tell them
The
end
Consequences,
point
yes.
of every choice
Exactly.
they make. And I think we need to teach them about action, reaction, and consequences. There are certain things, there are certain action they will take. Tell them the alternative reaction may not be, what is this English word?
As nice as
As
they think.
nice as they think the reaction will come. Probably drinking and smoking. It's said that smokers are liable to die young. Sometimes they see people smoking, they don't know the people are gradually dying and dying fast. Until maybe they get to a particular age, the load of all of those habits will just crush down on the system and your health begins to fail. Let's let them know this will happen. Even if it's not happening in the
Immediately.
people you see doing it.
It's happening to
but
some
just
people.
know that it's happening to some people and you may not just be lucky. Like I tell teenagers that I'm always their friend. I said, many girls may be doing it and get
day
away
you
with
try
it.
it.
The day you try it,
Yes.
you just may be an example to the rest not to do it. You being the scapegoat, you'll be the talk of the town. Why not avoid it?
Exactly.
So you give them, show them what the repercussion of all your action is. It will help.
So I
They
wanted to
usually
build
say,
on, I wanted to build on what Dan had mentioned about taking them out, doing all of this. I don't know if we're very familiar with Cameron, this filmmaker. I think they made a film called Courageous. It's basically a
yes,
story
yeah.
about fathers taking
Yes,
their
yeah.
place in
Yes.
the home.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was encouraged is to date your daughters. Because if you date your daughters, it raises their self-esteem.
Exactly.
Because we need to dress up to go out with daddy, you know. And I still remember a few of the dates that my husband took the girls out. They would dress so I mean very because you're going to somewhere like Hill Station in our days, you know, not now that you have all of these eateries. But going to Hill Station back in those days was a big deal. You had to dress well from top to down.
And they will prepare 2 weeks before the time.
Exactly.
And they will give you the countdown
Yes.
to the dates.
Yeah.
So
And because of that anxiety, and by the time they are coming back, they are not seeing you like their daddy. They see you like a friend. And since you have said this, I've been trying to hide away. But let me say it.
okay.
Single mothers
Yeah.
do not know how to train their boys.
You see that?
Single mothers do not know how to train their
Tough for
boys
them.
to become men. So at the end of the day, if they survived, they'll be lacking something.
Yeah.
It takes a man to train a boy,
Right.
and it takes a father to train a complete woman. The mothers could go a very long way, but the father figure is very important. So let me encourage all fathers. We know we are busy, but we should not be too
Easy.
For our kids.
Okay.
and leave our kids to be destroyed by the enemies. That will be a total failure on their side.
So, Danny, I will take that up and say that, like Amaka had said, look, this thing involves both parents.
It does.
But
Daddy
but-
should take the lead. in it.
but even if daddy doesn't take the lead, you know, there are times when mothers can offer suggestions. In other words, maybe the father is a little laid back. I'm thinking about driving. I'm I'm a I'm very hard on people when they are driving. I say very terrible things like, "Do you want to kill us?" So we got the father to help the children with the first day of driving so that I won't kill them. But subsequently, I can go on with the finishing school. These are places where things will fail and they will test whether you are a true Christian or not. Because if they are grinding your gears or they are almost running into someone, everything is going to come out of your mouth.
You'll be so real.
So I would ride on what you said about involving both parents in the children's life and parents taking the bull by the horn and giving those opportunities. Like, I think driving skills are one of the things that will help you really, really know whether you're a Christian or not. Really
And
know
I
whether
think
you're a Christian or not.
Unfortunately, some of our
yes.
Christian parents should go for hunger management.
Yes, because some children were given a story of some children that their mother took to school in the morning, and when the father took them to school in the morning. When he was going, he was insulting almost everybody on the way. He was shouting through the window everywhere, and then he dropped them in school. So the mother came to pick them after school. So when they were going, till they got home, the mother was singing, she was playing music in the car, she was laughing with the children. So when they got to the gate, the first child said, "Mommy, it's like all the fools and idiots are not on the way as we are coming now." You see, so, the things we do, they watch. The teenagers more. We are an open book to them. All the things we try to hide, the teenagers will see. So it's better to make it open by ourselves. The young people used to say to me that experience is the best teacher. Experience is the best teacher. They've said it to me. So one time I told them, I said, experience is the best teacher, but the school fees is very high.
That's right.
You have to pay. You pay for experience. I say, why don't you learn from history? Learn from other persons. And being a parent, I feel that we should be history to our children. Let them learn from us. Let them learn from our other friends. And one of the ways also we could bring these children up is to have family friends. Family friends, good family friends, relationship where we can partner together to raise these children, where you can feel comfortable to leave your children in the house of a brother, a family, and they can feel comfortable to leave their children in your house and come back to say, when my children came to your house, what did you observe? When my children came, and we can talk and share notes of how we've been able to help each other raise these children. Because we're not living in an isolation. The children are going to go out and meet other people. So start creating room for them to meet people. Start creating room for them to interact with other adults. There are some children, there are things some children may not tell you. But if you have made them friends with
Christ too, and the ministry of the Lord also will be promoted.
This aspect of David's experience we read in our passage of consideration brings this situation very near to ours.
He is majestic in holiness. Praise the Lord.
Groundbreaking shows for every life situation.
Truth. Parents don't tell lies because that's always a problem.
But in the north, we have abandoned education.
If you ask me to do anything for Nigeria, please equip me.
It feels great being on Never Ending platform.
Heaven gifted songs to lift your spirit up, pull you out of worry, fear, sadness, and even depression. Keep watching Equa TV Africa. Follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification button to keep up with our activities.
So viewers, welcome back from our short break. So our numbers will be put on the screen shortly so that you could call in and make your comments, ask questions, just contribute to this ongoing conversation about teenagers. In the course of what we've been talking today, we talked about the fact that sometimes parents are so angry and lash out at these young people, say all sorts of things, and we've raised the issue that some parents need anger management. So a brief detour to give parents hints on how they can get help to manage their anger, because this anger, it never works out the righteousness of God. Instead, you cause more trouble. So what can we do about anger? Parents.
First of all, you need to know that anger is a choice. It's not because of what your son did or what your daughter did. It's because you have not been able to put it down inside of you. That's why it is coming out. And also know that your child is a human being and can make mistakes. Most times people are angry because when they were growing up, people treated them with anger. So they now see it's like repeating what
That's how they know to respond.
Yes, the cycle of what they were used to. So first of all, when your child, according to us, makes us angry, because nobody actually makes you angry. You choose to be angry if you want to. When your child, assuming, makes you angry, can you just keep quiet and let it pass for a while? Later, you can call the child. I've made such mistakes before. You know, the child is, before he even finished making, I've started lashing out. But oftentimes when I go to see that, I say, what did you just do now? So maybe when the child is doing that thing you think is wrong, it's time to just calm down. Like that little boy will say, let us take a chill
Mommy,
pill.
calm down.
Calm down and, let the thing go down. Then you can sit with the child later and talk. And you will discover that later when you sit to talk, you have nothing to actually be angry about, because the child is doing what he knows. And he needs to be put in the right perspective. So because he doesn't know better, and you, instead of responding better, you didn't respond because you don't know better. Now that you know, calm down first. Understand, like people used to say that, respond to the issues, not the person. And when you are able to remove the person from the issue, anger will be less.
Okay. Any more advice for parents on how to manage anger?
I tell them to give me a second, and I run to the bathroom and pray.
Okay.
By the time I'm coming out, I've calmed down. But as we prepared for this show, I remembered a story that was a disaster, that sometimes when we keep quiet, the magnitude of the silence remains a permanent lesson for children. My children were trying to burn ants around the house with newspaper near the kitchen. And then the kitchen curtain caught fire. And all this happened while I was away. But as soon as I got in, the smell was there. And I looked at my curtain, half gone. And you know that you are just coming through the kitchen and you would have just had a meltdown. So according to them, they waited to hear my orders, calling them one by one to come and confess who did it. I just went straight to the bedroom and kept quiet. I came out, attended to things, didn't say a word about the curtains. Now, in review, they said they felt like opening the floor and let them go in because they didn't know how I was going to react, but I didn't give the typical reaction of, who did this, what? According to them, even the following morning at prayers, I didn't mention it. I didn't say anything. Once in a while, if the things do not have moral significance, like Dr. Dobson said, don't spoil your friendship. Don't spoil your friendship. Sometimes keeping quiet makes them steal more than if you had, ranted.
Okay. I suggested that. And the best place to go for anger management is back to God. Moses was the meekest man on planet Earth, but he missed the promised land because of anger. So even the coolest of the calm parents can lose it. But when you do, be man or be woman enough to admit when you are wrong. And when you're wrong, tell them, I did this, I did that, I was not supposed to. But when it becomes an habit, go back to God. Plead with God to help you manage this anger. Because the anger of man does not bring out the righteousness of God. You will always do something that you regret. Then you now call them back that, sorry, this happened because I lost it. Why are you always losing it? And when they lost it, when they get angry, you get angry that they are angry. I think that is more of witchcraft. I think. I stand to be corrected.
And you will kill us here.
So please, parents should endeavor to hold themselves together and be the adults, because the children are not adults. The teenagers are not adults.
Absolutely.
And they don't know what to do. At such point in time, you should be the adult and you should know what to do. The Bible says that the men of Issachar knows what Israel ought to do. Sometimes you don't need to shout. You just need to calm down and talk. There are certain times you even need to be quiet. Your quiet, like mommy said, sends more signal than your voice. At other times, when it's detrimental to their life, you may react instantly, because at that point in time, if you delay, they may lose the message. But even in your reaction, ask yourself, what will Jesus do? If Jesus react that way, please go ahead and do it.
I think it's even better to respond than to react, because when you react, most times it comes out negative. But when you respond to situation, it gives a better signal when you respond.
So can you see that God instituted marriage and children to make us holy?
Yes,
exactly. Yes, exactly.
To
shaping us.
Yeah, to sandpaper the rough edges so that we can become more and more like Jesus.
They bring out the real person, that one that you are hiding inside. That when you go outside and you will pretend as if you are a very quiet person, your children will go inside and bring it out.
And can I say, I stand to be corrected, but 60% of the anger towards our teenagers were transfer aggression.
I don't think
there are certain times, there are so many things hitting the parents, and they are looking for somewhere to vent that anger, that aggression, and they are just looking for a scapegoat. And because foolishness abound in the child, they will always pour it back at the child. Most especially our mothers.
But let's admit let's admit.
No, I say
teenagers are also full. They are not half full. You know that they are full.
Yes.
And they try you.
And they
can
try you. Yeah, they can really
know.
try you.
But at that point in time, every time they test Jesus, Jesus knew it was a test. Every time they test Jesus, Jesus knew it was a test, and he overcome the test with a superior argument. So when our teens begin to test us to find out how we're going to react, let's react in the godly manner. That is my pain.
Amen.
Because I remember when my son attempted that, I knew it was a test, and I knew I was angry. What did I do? I called him and we started playing. I never talked about it. Few days later, and I said, what you did was meant for this. I think you should apologize for that conduct. He now apologized. He said, yes, he was actually waiting to see my reaction. But my reaction really helped. If I have reacted negatively, he will say, he said it.
I said it.
That is who daddy is.
So it was a trap.
It was a trap. So our teenagers will always put you to test. They wanted to see your elastic limits. Let's keep the friendship, as mommy will say.
But like Danny said earlier, they are struggling with things that honest we are not aware of, or the kind of pressures. Like I'm imagining those who are in SS1, SS2, who are writing WAEC. You look around, there are people cheating.
They are
maybe
not allowed to
three-quarters
cheat.
of the class is cheating, and you are trying to be a godly teenager and how to resist it and still not be out of sync with them. They have pressures.
They do.
And then we have parents who are not doing as much as we are. And so here we are, maybe Christian parents, we are too tight, and then they are mixing with other parents who are almost no control. Everything is laissez-faire. And you know, there's confusion. So they have that pressure. Don't even mention the internet and the pornography that attacks young males in particular.
Especially, yes.
So
and now the latest is the homosexual thing, which is everywhere, you know, and is trying to brainwash them. It's a very strong network. It's on internet. You think it's only for boys. Homosexual among girls is very, very strong.
There's prostitution too.
Even stronger than that of boys.
There's
prostitution. Prostitution too.
Yes,
there's a lot of rings.
There's even a site where I was told that they recruit young girls, you know, to join them, and they pay them to be members. But when you become a member and you want to get out, you have to pay back 10 times what you were given. So it's just to set you in and not to let you go out. And some of them want to, because their friends have already keyed in and they've made a lot of money. And teenagers, you know,
so just
18,
general
19,
peer pressure.
Yeah, general peer pressure.
There's something Dan raised, and I just want him, if we could contribute. He talked about single mothers raising boys. So if you're a single, many times if people are single mothers, they didn't plan well. Most times you didn't plan maybe for your husband to die or for your husband to leave or something. What can you do? What can you do?
Family
sometimes you may be married, but your husband is absent. Really, he's not pulling his weight. He's not doing what he should do as a father. What can you do?
Family relationship can help. Like if you are in a church, you know, get connected to families, you know, and make friends with them. If possible, talk with the couple. Say, see, this is my situation and I have boys. Please, I need help. Talk with them, you know, connect. Don't sit, don't stay away. Connect with people who can help you. Let them, if possible, carry your son as part of their children. And you give, you know, be willing to submit for help. And it will go a long way if you can.
But Amaka here, you yourself, you have contacted adults.
Connect.
No,
she has even connected.
She has contacted people and said, would you mentor my son?
Yeah.
Would you be a bigger friend to my son?
Exactly.
And their father is there, but those other friends have remained.
Yeah.
You know, I think, Dan, I'm grateful you brought that up. that we can have adult friends who can give biblical direction to our young people. And the young people can confide in these adults.
Even more than their parents. Yes.
There's biblical examples.
Yes. Even what they will not tell
Timothy
their
was
parents.
raised by his mother and his grandmother.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the point he became a teenager, Paul became his mentor.
Yeah.
And he was encouraging him that do not allow people despise you because you are you, but rather be an example
to the believer.
to the believers in your conduct, in your speech. And he was becoming a mentor to him.
Yes.
At the point they become teenagers, begin to introduce them to a Christian mentor. The mentor could be a Sunday school teacher, a pastor in the church, or a family member he respected as a father figure. So he sees him like a father, he runs to him for that fatherly advice, and he watch because sons actually copied their fathers. So he sees what he does and he copied after him. I think the best way to do that is to get him prayerfully a mentor or introduce him to a father. And you remain prayerful and keep your mother.
I think youth and teens fellowship also
Helps,
help build
They do.
young adults.
So we should encourage
And
our
also
children to be part of the fellowship.
influence his environment. Since you cannot choose friends for them, all teens, you can't choose friends for them, but you can influence his choice of his friends.
How do you do that?
Yes. Introduce them to Christian meetings. Probably if there's a youth hangout that is Christian based,
Encourage
keep
them.
introducing him there. He finds his friends among believers. But if he's going to nightclubs and parties, the worldly parties, definitely his friends will also come from such folks.
Or if you keep them away from even all relationships, they'll go behind and make friends.
If you
in
keep them
places where
away,
you don't
you
want
are
them to.
harming them and you are harming yourself. Because the day they are let out, they'll behave like wild animals.
So
Because
this means that even if I'm a single mother, I'll also show myself to be friendly. I can't stay cocooned in the house.
As the Bible says, he who wants friends must first show himself
Himself
friendly.
friendly.
We must
yes.
reach out. And
We
then the
reach
must
out.
see us also mentoring other people.
Yes, yes. So that by the time they see a father figure, and you are okay with a father figure, I'm opportune to be a father to some. And their parents were alive. Please, this is my son, but it's now your son. Please take care of him. And to the if I said, young man, I've been like grandfather to certain persons. I was asking my, how will I do this? But I understood that the parents saw something
Yeah.
and they want their children to copy. I think we can introduce them to it.
So can you see the multiplier effect? Maybe there are praying parents.
Yes.
Now there is the mentor who is
Mentor.
also praying
Okay.
into this
Yeah.
person
Yes.
and
Yeah.
investing
Yes,
in the
child's
then you
life.
also introduce them to a meeting that will help them.
Fellowships.
Christian fellowships,
Fellowships.
Christian meetings, Christian youths that will ginger them to become all they needed to be. But keeping them that you don't want them to spoil, and that as a single parent you want to do everything. I don't think it is very
Something
well
we haven't
possible.
mentioned at all is the value of books. Young teenagers at this time, they are reading a lot of romantic novels.
The girls.
And then the
Books.
boys are reading
Boys.
action novels and all of that.
The ones that agree to read,
They prefer the action.
So what I used to do was do trade by barter. In fact, we would agree. You could read the romantic novels, but you'd also read one holy book, maybe on how to grow in maturity in this and that. And I was quick to point out that many of these things are fantasies, and the fantasies are dangerous because they help the children
They build
form
a
opinions
mentality,
that
yes,
are
yeah.
not realistic at all. But I think
Very,
there's
very
value in reading books. You know, at our ages, we read biographies of great people. missionaries and all of that. Daddy doesn't think so.
You know, these days we don't have heroes anymore. You know, mentors and heroes, more of celebrities all around. That's why we need to consciously choose mentors for them, because the children, they are more attracted to celebrities.
They are hero
because
worshippers.
the celebrities give them dressing code, the celebrity give them hairstyles, the celebrities give them, you know, what is trending, you know, the sleek cars, the good life, you know, and it is inculcated in their music, in their acting, in almost everything they do. The entertainment industry is so big, and their main purpose, for me, that's the way I see them, is to recruit young persons to lose it from home, you know, to begin to see themselves as if I'm grown up now, especially when they are late teens, 18 and 19. I'm grown up now, I'm an adult. They will even remind you that even the Constitution said that by 18, I'm an adult, so I'm supposed to take care of myself, you know. So because of all that, if we start from when they are early teens to put them in the hands of people who will grow them, so that they, even if they want to choose people, they want to follow people, they have realistic people to follow. If they love music, who are those in the music industries that you can, you know, encourage them to follow? If they love acting, is there any Christian persons who have done movies, you know, that are, you know, trending, that can help them, you know, and things like that? Who, you know, on their site, on their page, if possible, what are the things that they love to, the people they love to follow, the people they love to queue after?
When she
and
said
it really
that, it reminded me
them.
that parents are probably not social media savvy.
Compliant.
No, savvy.
Yeah.
I think the reason why you saw my face not agreeing with reading of books, in my interaction with teenagers,
They don't really like
the moment they become teenager, reading now becomes a duty, not leisure. So they only read because they have to. And that is why if you check, they only read those books that is demanded of them. Every other thing is fun.
But in my experience, my girls read. It's my boys.
Most times it's the girls
problem.
read.
My girls
is
read.
the current trend.
My girls read.
They will rather watch than to read. So they are more, I call them screenagers instead of teenagers. Why? They spend over 12 hours of the day on screen. From the television screen to their phone screen. From their phone screen to their PlayStation screen. But they are at a screen almost every point in time. The only time they are not at screen is probably they're doing their house chores, they are reading, or they are in school.
But we said introduce them. So we know that that is not something they want to do.
Now, the best way to do that, or I discovered the best way to do that, is to give them soft copies of good books.
Exactly.
Introduce them to soft copies instead of hard copies.
Okay.
Because
so they prefer reading online.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's good.
So you can do that rather than hard copies, and then they can sit on the phone and forget themselves. But if they are reading good books, introduce them. Like in my phone, I have over 500 to good Christian books. Then the secular books, I have them in multiple. I couldn't even cope with the number of books. But
your phone must be really big.
If you know, the books are very small. They are very the megabytes. Yes, those books you can begin to introduce it to the teenagers. They will easily accept it. They are reading the hard copies.
Okay, so
that's
not,
my
the
take.
problem is not with books, but soft copy.
In the format of the books.
Okay, we have to wrap up. It's already time, and there were still some things I wanted us to discuss, talking about specific things to discuss with our teens. That means we still need to talk about teens again next time we're here. So thank you so much. We've talked a lot about teens, and our discussion has shown that yes, they may be a challenge, but it's not that hard if we follow the principles that have been raised here about how to interact with our teens. We must be their friends. We must keep the communication line open. We must talk, and be available to talk, and no shouting. If you have anger issues, we've been advised on how to manage our anger, because the anger of man does not work out the righteousness of God. And we've seen that sometimes these things have been put in our lives to sandpaper our rough edges so that we can be more and more like Jesus. So as much as you complain that these children are frustrating you, thank God for them. They're a blessing in your life to help you to become more and more like Jesus to the glory of God. So it's been a nice time talking. We'll be here again next time discussing the issue of teenagers. And to thank again Mrs. Namo, Auntie IB, Uncle Dan.
Hallelujah.
Professor Teresa Madu, or Auntie Tessie,
thank you,
as we know her. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be here again next time by God's grace to talk again about teens. Please, parents, see as I'm drawing my ears, all the things we have said, please use them so that these children can be all that God wants them to be. God bless you all. Looking forward to seeing you again next time at the living room. My name is Amaka Ucheke, and God bless you.
Amen.
Bye.